Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer LB4381-400-604 4x4 single acting spring hinge, full mortise, residential weight, lube bearing, steel base, zinc plated and dichromate sealed hinge. So the LB4381 is representative of this hinge. And what that means is the LB part of the part number means that there is a maintenance-free lube bearing construction to the hinge. The 4381 is a reference to the combination of square corner on one leaf and 5/8 radius corner on the other, and the location of the screw holes. That all conspires to be appropriate for Stanley door system doors and frames. There's a link below this video to the template where you can get all of the dimensions that are important about the screw holes so that you can confirm that this is the one that you need. Okay. The -400 is representative of the fact that this is a 4" by 4" hinge, and on the hinges like this, 4" is the height dimension first. Okay, 4 inches wide. This hinge actually measures a little bit less, and that's normal for this hinge. It's actually 3 3/4 is what this is. But the -400 means that that's the size it is. The 604 means that it is the zinc plated hinge in dichromate sealed. And what that means is it simply means it's a corrosion resistant sort of finish that you would use and be appropriate for exterior applications. And would give you, you'd be able to expect a certain amount of corrosion resistance as a result of the zinc dichromate sealed preparation done to the hinge. Below this video is also a guideline in terms of the usage of the hinge, in terms of door size and weight, and how many hinges would be appropriate for use. If you're dealing with doors up to 3 foot by 7 foot, 85-pound doors, you'd be looking at 2 hinges, and up to 110 pounds, you'd be looking at 3 hinges. We'll talk about that more in a moment. This is a full mortise hinge. As you can see, the swag on the hinge leaves is such that when the hinge is closed, or the door is closed, that would be intended to be mortised to the edge of the door and to the frame. It's a residential thickness on the leaf, meaning that it is going to be compatible with, and these are 96 thousandths of an inch thick leaves, and that's normal for residential applications. Anywhere from 0.085 to 109 thousandths thick, this hinge is going to work for your preparation. You're going to see this on exterior doors that need to be self-closing, patio doors on balconies, garage doors, attached garage doors in homes could possibly have this as well. Screws are included. You're going to get half wood screws, half machine screws in a complementary finish. You're also going to get a tension rod and 2 tension pins. Well, you only need 1 for this, but in this package, they generally ship them as in 2. You'd get 1 tension pin. This package happens to have 2 because in this order there are 2 hinges. So the setting of the tension on the spring is actually quite simple. You simply insert the tension rod into one of the holes in the tension collar up at the top, and you turn it clockwise. And as you do that, you reveal new holes, and into one of those new holes you would insert a tension pin. That's what holds the tension on the spring inside of the barrel. Okay, completely non-handed. You would obviously just turn this over, depending on the application. If you're turning it over with the tension collar on the bottom, keep in mind that you'd be rotating that in the opposite direction. Okay. Regarding how many spring hinges to have, generally these doors are going to be relatively light, where 2 spring hinges would certainly work. In instances where you think you're going to be bumping up into the upper threshold of what this hinge is designed for, by all means go with 3 spring hinges, or whatever, the maximum quantity of spring hinges. The reasoning is, in my experience in terms of field work on spring hinges, you have a greater amount of success in the door actually closing shut, and latching, and that's the important part, the latching part, when you've got more spring hinges or an abundance of spring hinges in comparison to being a little light in terms of the quantity of spring hinges. Because you have to set the tension sometimes if you're underpowered in the spring hinge so high on the spring that you've got to get the door really moving quickly through its closing cycle to overcome not only the air pressure but also the weight of the door and the resistance or friction of the latch bolt when it strikes the strike plate to get the door closed. Sometimes you'll have a slamming situation, and I have found that when I've got 3 spring hinges, let's say in lieu of 2, that I'm able to get a better control over it, where I don't have to get the door moving so quickly through the closing cycle in order to get it to function and latch correctly, like torque, like a tugboat. Doesn't go very fast but can pull a lot. That's the kind of idea that I would make that analogy to. They're relatively inexpensive, so it wouldn't hurt to be conservative with your expectations of success. More spring hinges. If you didn't, you were going to use 1 or 2 of these when you had, whatever the case. The pivoting axis of this hinge is completely compatible with a typical 4-inch by 4-inch hinge, so that you can mix and match these with your existing hinges as well. Bommer, great quality company. Last thing I'd like to show you is their logo. You can see there, right above the logo, it says Made in USA, a fact that Bommer is proud of, as am I to represent them. Very good quality company, very good quality products, and can't say enough about them. If you have any questions on the Bommer LB4381-400-604 single-acting zinc plated dichromate sealed spring hinge or any other Bommer product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.